Whatever you take into the wilderness grows. Whatever you take with you into solitude grows. What's up, my friends? This is Reality Files. I'm Kristian, and this is my experience on my recent wilderness immersion trip. So, for the first time in my life, I went solo backpacking out here in the beautiful Colorado mountains. Finally got to the place where I had all the gear, and I had the strength to go make that container for myself. Go check out my video, Self-Initiation. It's probably a few videos back. And in that video, I kind of described the precursor, what was happening in my life to get me out into the wilderness and to commune with my depths. And I want to share this experience with you guys. And yeah, hopefully you can get some, inspiration or the message out of here. So hit that like button, let me know what you think about this video. And without further ado, let's dive in.
Full out here.
So I geared up and I got out there and I spent 3 days in the wilderness. And the first day I went hiking and ended up at a hot spring. And then I spent 2 days backpacking. So 2 solid days out there. Wow. Backpacking trip, day 1. We're about 2 hours in, walking straight uphill with a 40-pound pack on. God, it's so beautiful. Woo! My goal is to see if I can make it up there. Who knows? I don't have any climbing equipment with me. And wow, it was one of the most profound experiences of my life, and I feel like I was barely scratching the surface of that connection in the wilderness. Now, I'm someone who goes into nature every day, and I've done, solo camping trips before, but I've never set such strong intention for myself. And really, how I open this video is one of the main lessons I learned. What you bring into solitude grows there. Back in my early journey, especially when I was isolated, I always found myself starving for connection with people, or, frantic because I'm in scarcity, trying to do business and all these different things. So when I would go into nature, it was usually a really sad time. I didn't actually want to be there. I wasn't going in for me, for the experience. I was going in because it felt like something I had to do, or it was the only way I saw. And I was often reaching or wanting people or looking for connection. I was still searching for something instead of finding something, right? And I've had experience of crying and being so lonely out in nature before, having a really hard time. But this time was different. It was different than any experience I've ever had, because I was coming in on the whole drive out there to the mountains. I was really thinking about courage, the courage to go feel the pain, to go feel the darkness, to commune with myself wherever it is. And I set the intention of, no matter how I felt, it's to hold strength of mind and the capacity to surrender to it, to surrender to the Great One. I had this, I was building courage and faith. And the fact that oftentimes we don't let ourselves go into the depths because we don't know if we'll get out, we don't know what's there, right? We don't like how it feels. But I made the commitment to myself, I'm going to feel the pain especially. I'm going to feel whether it's sadness, sorrow, grief, despair, loss, I'm going to let go of the world. And what I realized in that first day in the wilderness was, wow, I'm attached to all these things that I love. Whether it's a person, whether it's, a purpose, whether it's nature itself, whether it's these ideas about who I am or ideas of what's good and bad. I'm attached to these ideas of what I love, And finding the courage to go die, it was coming to me, go deep. Go deeper than you ever gone before. Get beneath the material reality. Get deeper than, just the mundane materiality that you see all around you, and tap into the deeper reality, the magical one. And to get there, I knew that I had to go through this portal, these waters, right? And I had faith in getting through that. I had faith in, in the Great One guiding me through there, and the courage to die. And through that process, all these attachments, all these loves started coming up for me, And, you know, I realized that like real courage comes from love of life and love of myself so deeply. And that I know there's a greater one just waiting to be born inside of me. And for that to happen, I must die, you know? And that it's a very sacred ceremony. You know, there's so much love there, and it's love, not fear. So anytime fear showed its face on this trip, whether it was, you know, at night in the wilderness, whether it was going in my inner world, I had this commitment to myself. I'm going to be courageous at every step, whether I feel tired, you know, just like keep moving through it. Whether I feel, you know, like frightened of thinking this thought or going into those places in my mind, opening those cabinets. It's allowing it to happen and just facing fear wherever it comes and having the courage to do that because I love what is being birthed inside of me. The mantra kept coming to me of how deep can I go? And I realized two things are required: courage and humility. By being humble at the face of nature, being humble to these enormous 14,000 peaks that are surrounding me. I'm up here right by Telluride in the passes of Colorado, you know. And I get out there, I'm backpacking, I'm walking.
Wow.
And throughout my walk, courage had to come up a lot. The pack's heavy.
What?
You know, like how strong can I be in this? You know, how strong can I be in my dive inside? How strong can I be in my dive outside? Right? And then humility opened the doors. Humility to nature, like I don't know what nature is. I don't know what I'm actually seeing or looking at. Right? Humbleness to the mountain. Humbleness towards myself, like damn, I'm really nothing and I don't expect anything of me, and I don't have pride in the Christian or the little ego I am. I understand there's something much greater at work and I'm a small piece, and just humility to that. Humility and courage created openness. You see, fear creates contraction in the being, contraction from seeing. And I just wanted to awake to this. I had the intention of celebrating, you know, manhood and celebrating this adventure and freedom. But that I knew that was going to come as the consequence of some deeper work. And courage and humility created openness. It created openness to a different reality and to go deeper with myself. And after that first day, hiking all day, just like getting up to this spot, setting up my camp, feeling so amazing. It's like, wow, all these seeds I've planted over the years of gathering the gear to go do this, you know, of the inner work, the cultivation of mantras and these principles, allowed me to have this experience for the first time in my life where I'm not reaching for anything in nature. I'm not like wanting to go outside of myself, but like so content and learning to be full on everything around me. And wow, so much beauty, so much of my inner child just opened up from that openness, so much connection with the mountain. I found myself, you know, if you ever listen to Rob Ricardo, amazing when you're out in the wild and just like singing Rob Ricardo and some Murray Kyle, like Higher Here the Mountain, and dancing with all of me in the middle of the wilderness by myself. Like the highest state of joy I ever experienced, almost. And yeah, just so incredible. And from there, the other thing I wanted to mention, the other thing was expression. The courage to express from that soul place, to free myself. That's why I was dancing and singing. And I realized life is something we rise to. You know, oftentimes we think to feel differently, like we need to eat something or get something, but when we accept the void, I spent a lot of time just breathing and just accepting lack, accepting the voids inside of me and opening myself to nature, right? And from there, expressing at that soul level, like moving and dancing and like hiking like a ninja and jumping around and just like being fully alive, letting my wild will run free. So I was getting to the depths of me. And I kind of came in with a lot of burdens, a lot of attachments. You know, but nearing the end of that second day, I let my wild will run free. And I sang songs. I made a voice note that was so beautiful. You know, like I just really like let myself express, and it felt so good. It felt so good to tap into that power inside of you, into that truth of expression where you see your true reflection. And that night, it was this kind of exaltation as the sun set, and like this was an accumulation of a lot of years of growth, you know. It was kind of like a big threshold I was crossing through. And it was just beautiful. That night, I was hella challenged. I only brought a hammock and a sleeping bag, and I got so brutally cold all night. I didn't sleep at all. Just the wind rushing beneath my, hammock. I just was not anticipating that, and it was freezing. So I wake up at 6 a.m. The sun's just coming up. Didn't sleep a wink. Just had some delirious halfway dreams that were really profound. Out there in nature, miles and miles from anyone. It's really profound dreams. But that night, I had to face fear deeply. I had asked, I'd set the intention to realize the warrior within myself. And that intention was granted to me. I sat there in the middle of the night, a very dark night, in the middle of the wilderness, alone, up all night, just listening to every crack and whisper of the grass. It's just a lot of fear there. A lot of man, I wish I could sleep. I had this idea that I wanted this beautiful experience tomorrow. I was gonna go climb this 14. I was gonna do some amazing work, but I ended up not sleeping, just kind of feeling like shit. And then I had to trek. I decided I spent the morning around camp and whatnot. And I decided to trek back down, 3 hours with a 40-pound pack on, having not slept at all, cold all night. And it was amazing the state I tapped into, not dependent on the physical. It was a state of courage and strength that let me just make it. Let me be strong. A warrior going into battle probably won't sleep the night before, and yet he still has to go perform. And I realized that the warrior really gets his name not when he's feeling good, but when everything goes to shit and he's feeling really bad. That is where the warrior rises to. That is where the warrior is born. And wow, getting down, I realized I'm capable of so much more than I give myself credit for. I think we all are. There's so much more inside of us that wants to come out, right? But we don't give it a sufficient test, a sufficient obstacle to bring that out of us. But going into the raw elements of nature, into the wilderness alone, will test you in ways that will make you, really test your strength and build your strength. I think of being wild. The wild, indigenous one inside of all of us is so strong, is so tough, so much fortitude, because we're used to comfort and security and all these pleasures. But when you're just out there and it's just you and life tests you, wow, you gotta dig deep. And I set that intention, in the first video I made, self-initiation, of I wanna go out into the elements and be tested and dig deep and find a deeper part of myself. And through that challenge, I had the meaning. It was so meaningful to me that it was so challenging. Other times, if I didn't have the same amount of intention and container, I would have been walking tired and just kind of hating that I went out here and just wishing I could be back and take a nap. But even though I was so tired and whatnot, walking down is strong and still trying to express myself and be alive with my will. Wow. It gave so much meaning to that challenge, and my will rose above it, and I learned so much from that experience. I can't wait to enter the nature again. I'm gonna do that again and actually climb that 14er solo. I can't wait, my friends. Let me know if you like this kind of update. If you guys want to talk to me one-on-one, there's a link in the description where you can apply for a free session with me. Furthermore, my friends, I usually don't do the vlogging style, but let me know if you get a lot out of this, if you can relate and how you can relate. Love all you guys so much. May peace and strength be with you, and the wilderness calls, my friends. Blessings.